Thanks for joining me on the Android Show today. So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to go over three stories here. Google helping out in Ukraine, new features coming to Android that you should see soon, and Google killing off a popular YouTube app. So firstly, Google will send air raid alerts to Ukrainian Android users. Google obviously stepping in to do what they can here in some way. Google will immediately start rolling out alerts for incoming air raids to Ukrainian Android phone users in an effort to help them get to safety, the company announced. In a company blog post Thursday, Kent Walker, president of global affairs for Google, said the air raid alert system will work in conjunction with the Ukrainian government. Quote, at the request and with the help of the government of Ukraine, we've started rolling out a rapid air raid alert system for Android phones in Ukraine, end quote, Walker wrote. Quote, this work is supplemental to the country's existing air raid alert systems and based on alerts already being delivered by the Ukrainian government. So it looks like they're already getting updates of some sort via text message or, here in the U.S., sometimes we get test alerts from your Android phone, some sort of like a presidential message test or something like that. And of course, you get all the different alerts, amber alerts, blue alert, silver alert, all those type of things. So it looks like this is, they're just adding to that. Google is kind of helping out with that. Dave Burke, vice president of engineering at Google for Android, said the system is based off of the earthquake alerts they send users. He says the new system has started rolling out already and will ramp up to target all Android phones in Ukraine over the next few days. The system quote, the system leverages our low latency alert mechanism we built for earthquake alerts, Burke tweeted. The air raid system is supplemental too and shares the same triggers used for the country's existing air raid alert system. And here's a quote. Tragically, this is a tweet from Dave Burke. Tragically, millions of people in Ukraine right now rely on airstrike alerts to try to get to safety. Man, can you imagine every time your phone buzzing, not knowing if it's a preemptive alert warning you of bombs dropping in your area? Every time your phone buzzes, not knowing if that's coming. Working with the Ukrainian government, we're rolling out a rapid air raid alert system for all Android phones in the Ukraine. On March 4th, Google directed Google Play users in Ukraine to the Ukrainian Alarm app. They said the app was created by Ukrainian developers in cooperation with the Ukrainian government to give people better air raid warnings. Now Ukrainians will be able to receive alerts if their phone location and internet is turned on without third-party app. So that's what Google's doing in this. They're allowing them to send these alerts directly to their phones without having to download this app. Air raid alert is a quote. Air raid alerts and sirens in Ukraine are a tragic daily reality, and we're doing all we can to help people get these crucial alerts in as many ways as possible, the company stated. Google has already blocked Russian state media channels from its platforms, including the Google Play Store. It has suspended Google Pay for customers of sanctions-hit Russian banks, meaning customers of those banks won't be able to use the mobile payment system. So there you have it. Good for Google for doing this. Secondly, also we have lots of features coming to Android phones in this last week here. This is just a few days ago on the 10th. We're going to read BGR first because they give a nice intro as to what these features are. Google's Android feature drop for March updates, messages, photos, and parking. And this is the part I wanted to read here. Google on Thursday announced a big feature drop that will enhance several experiences on the operating system without requiring a full Android update. So these are going to be updates to the Google apps. You won't need to install a giant update. This will be handled through the Play Store. The feature drop consists of several significant upgrades to apps and/or functionalities already available on your device. Therefore, they can be enabled on all sorts of Android devices via app updates rather than a full OS release. The biggest focus on the March Android feature drop is the Messages app, which gains a few useful new tricks, including a better way to handle iMessage reactions, which is a pain. But well, it's not a pain. It's just not nice. It's not polished. Let's say that. But the Android team has also worked on a few other exciting upgrades, like letting you. Okay, so we're gonna get into the actual updates here, but we're gonna go to the blog post from Google to do that. Straight from the horse's mouth. They say it's focused on messaging, entertainment, and more. Firstly, share more with your iPhone friends and stay on top of your inbox with messages. I will let this audio play. Now, I know you can barely hear this, but we're really just here to watch it. Friendly nudges. Okay, so I think they're gonna get into the details here. That's not very specific. Okay, so originally I was going to read the Google version of this, but I just can't. Their flowery language is just too much. We need something more objective here. Google, because they're just going to tell you what you want to know, and they're not going to be very specific. They're just going to make it sound like it's a bunch of rainbows and roses here. Google on Thursday announced a big Android. Oh, we already read that. Okay, so let's see. That's the feature drop. So the first one what we started to get into with that video is the Messages app. Messages is the closest Google will ever got to replicating iMessage, but it's still not quite iMessage. Google plans to get as close as possible, and the Android feature drop will bring a few features to help out with that. One of them, so if you want to, I would recommend going to MKBHD YouTube channel, his YouTube channel. He has a great video about a couple weeks ago about this whole iMessage situation and how Apple has built in a bunch of features into the iMessage app, so when two iPhones are texting each other, they get special features that don't translate over because of the protocol they're using. That doesn't transfer over to just anybody with an Android phone or any other kind of phone. So it's a great video that it explains all that and the difficulties in making everything mesh together and work properly, and Apple not really wanting to make it work properly because you're not in the club, right? So I recommend going to watch that. So, here we go. One of those is getting reactions from iPhone users. We knew the feature was in the works, and you'll get to finally use it. Those reactions will show up as emojis. The Messages app will also sort your messages automatically to separate personal and business messages within the apps. Also, you'll get, quote, gentle nudges to reply to messages you've ignored and reminders for birthdays. Because nobody uses his calendar, I guess? A lot of people just use Facebook to rely on for birthdays. The Gboard keyboard is an integral part of the Messages experience, whether it is Messages or other apps, and Gboard is getting grammar correction features, which should detect grammatical errors, not just correct your spelling. So, I've used Gboard for a long time. It's a great keyboard app as far as text prediction and correction, and the swiping feature, which who doesn't love swiping? If you're tapping out your messages, you need to try swiping. Much faster once you get used to it. Give it a chance. So if you're on a Samsung phone or any other brand phone, you may not have the Gboard app by default. You may have some goofy Samsung keyboard, which has 9,000 features you're never going to use, or some simple keyboard from Motorola or something. So I would recommend at least trying the Gboard app. But what they've added here is not just spell check, correct your spelling and auto correct, but they've also added grammatical errors. So it will detect those. Also, the keyboard app will support more than 2,000, quote, emoji mashups, Google says, Pixel users get an extra feature here with Gboard converting words into colorful stickers. I have no idea what emoji mashups are or why you would want to convert words into colorful stickers. But if that's your thing, so this whole checking for auto checking for grammatical errors. This reminds me a lot of what Microsoft has recently done to Word. Well, I guess it's all of Office. We covered this in January when I was doing a daily news show for tech, and you could see from the title here, Microsoft Office's woke spell checker is perfectly fine and will cause nobody to freak out. So here, the feature goes beyond flagging ethnic slurs and will highlight when you've used words or phrases containing age bias, cultural bias, sexual orientation bias, gender bias, racial bias, racial bias, as well as gender-specific language. So it's, in my opinion, it's only a matter of time before Google starts policing, or at least pointing out these type of things, problematic words or phrases you're using that they think you could, they just want you to do better, apparently, obviously. So that'll come at some point. Live Transcribe is the brilliant Google app that offers real-time speech-to-text captions on smartphones. The new Android feature drop will give the app new powers, as Live Transcribe will not work offline. The app is preloaded on Pixel and Samsung phones, but you'll be able to install it on other devices. So this Live Transcribe will work offline. That's very cool. I'm not sure when people are offline. Not often. But if you're ever offline and you need to translate live, you can. These photo features seem pretty useful to me. Google is also ready to improve the Photos experience on Android phones via the March 2020 feature drop. 2022, excuse me. For starters, Google announced that the videos you send as Google Photos links will play in the same resolution as the original. Cool. Are a lot of people sharing Google Photos links? The same will happen with Photos soon. So, I'm assuming originally when you'd share a link through the Google Photos, you'd share it as a link to maybe a large video that you can't, or 20 photos. You can't send all those over SMS. Well, you could. Well, you can't send them all large videos anyway. So, once whoever you send it to follows the link, they get a full resolution version of the videos and pictures instead of some downgraded version, which hopefully they have the ability to, play a lower resolution version if you don't have a great connection. You send somebody a 4K video and they're, waiting for 10 minutes to buffer a 2-minute video because it's in 4K. I hope that doesn't happen. Portrait Blur is available in Google Photos for Google One users and Pixel owners, but the new Android feature drop will make it available to any Android device right inside the Photos app. So that's what lets you, elsewhere Google Photos, Google will let you add portrait blur effects to any photo and turn it into a portrait. I'm anxious to see if that works. Well, since Google doesn't have, Pixel phones don't have, Pixel 3, 3A and earlier phones didn't have another camera to use for depth of field information. They had to do that all in, all that wizardry for photos, portrait photos. They had to do that all in software, so they already have the ability to do that to just any photo. So it'll be interesting to see how well that works. I would imagine pretty well. So it's already available on Google Photos. So I have not seen that. I'm going to have to go try that on I have a Pixel 3A, so I'm going to go try that on just some random photo off the internet somewhere. Maybe of a dinosaur. I'll take a picture of a dinosaur and turn it into a portrait mode. That would be pretty cool. Finally, the Nearby Share feature lets you share content with others around you, like the FBI. As getting an update. Nearby Share lets you move photos, videos, documents, links, audio files, and entire folders between devices. Now you'll be able to share with multiple people as long as you have a device running at least Android 6. Which, wow. Android 6 is very old. Assistant parking and other new features. So there's some other stuff in here you can read. You can, if you don't mind all their PR speak, you can read the blog post from Google. And that tiny text, my goodness. Do they expect people to be able to read that? Look at this. You zoom. This is 100% zoom on this website. Look at these giant photos and these videos. And the text is so small. Anyway, so there you go. Okay, so finally today, we have Google finally succeeds in killing YouTube Vanced. So there have been these apps for a long time, alternatives to YouTube that use the service, but these have a workaround. Some of these, they work around some of the premium features. So if you don't have YouTube, well, what was called YouTube Red is now YouTube Premium. You can't stream, watch videos with the screen off. Like if you wanted to listen to, say, a lecture or a debate or music, you had to leave your screen on. You couldn't just lock the screen and let it play. Using these third-party apps kind of bypasses that, along with ads. You bypass ads. They also sometimes let you download YouTube videos, which the YouTube app will let you do, but you have to watch them in YouTube. Not sponsored, unless they want. So these apps will let you just download the file, and you can go, put it wherever you want. Throw it on your laptop. If you weren't too fond of the official YouTube app, there were many alternatives at your disposal. One of them was YouTube Vanced, a modded version of the original app that added features like ad blocking, background playback, and many more without charging users like YouTube's premium tier. We even put it on our list of best indie apps you can get. Of course, this is not something you can get in the Play Store. You have to go sideload it from a website somewhere. Now, I have played around with apps like this before. They mentioned later there's an app that does similar things called NewPipe that I have used, but I was never actually able to download Vanced because I couldn't find a legitimate link to it. Every time I did searches for it, I saw it recommended everywhere, but I never found a good legitimate link to it. So be careful when you download stuff like this, because you never know what you're going to be installing on your phone. Find some place, well, I say reputable. The Play Store is reputable, so it's safer to just go off the Play Store. But you're limited. It further gained popularity by bringing back dislike counts. That would be the thumbs down button. YouTube has removed that counter there, so you can see how many thumbs up something has. But if people thumbs down, downvote, that counter is gone. So this was a way around that. Bringing back the dislike count in videos just as Google removed them from their service. Note that we've been telling you about the mod in the past tense. That's because we're here to mourn the passing of YouTube Vanced. The folks behind the project announced Sunday in the app's official Telegram channel and on the Vanced Twitter account that it will be discontinued. No clear reason was given as to why it was killed off, so we can only speculate. But it's likely due to Google's legal department taking notice of Vanced. The tech giant has been cracking down on unauthorized clients lately, such as a pair of popular Discord bots for listening to music on a server, Groovy and Rhythm. Those were taken down after YouTube sent cease and desist letters to the developers. It's not much of a leap to imagine something similar happening here. It's amazing this hasn't happened until now, or before now, I should say. Sometimes what happens is YouTube will update their app and the API, the way it communicates with their services, their servers, and it'll break these apps, and the developers have to rush and push out an update to make them work again. So I think some of that is accidental and some of it's intentional. The convenience of YouTube Vanced earned some passionate backers. The app unlocked or circumvented many premium features like background playback and ad blocking, and it added features YouTube didn't like at all, like those pesky dislike counters. Recently, the app had even rebranded to change its name to just Vanced, and it removed most mentions of YouTube from its website, possibly in an attempt to avert legal drama with Google. Vanced was never the only alternative YouTube app. Others include open source NewPipe, which is more lightweight. That's what I mentioned earlier. Others were source of NewPipe, which is more lightweight than the official app, but YouTube Vanced had a huge user base and will miss it. It won't be updated anymore, but you can still get the latest version. Do it quickly, though, and at your own risk. The download links will be gone soon. This is from today, the 13th, Sunday, so this is very fresh. And I'm sure this will be on all sorts of sites if you can find a legitimate version. So, sad news if you're a fan, and they will probably be coming for new pipe and other apps that bypass some of these, the needs to go get a premium subscription. So, I'm surprised there's not a YouTube music app like this, because although you can get much music just on YouTube proper. So that's what we've got for you today. I want to thank you for watching. I appreciate it if you watched this long. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks. We'll catch you next time. I appreciate it. See you next time.